Good evening, everyone. My name is Robin Bettis, and I'm the first Vice President for Baton Rouge Sigma Alumni Chapter. And I bring you greetings and welcome you on behalf of our President, Dr. Ernie Singleton. This webinar is being sponsored by our Physical and Mental Health Committee, and it's entitled Let's Talk, Self-Care for Caregivers. And I will now turn it over to our Chair, Monitra King.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for attending this often overlooked topic. No one really ever really thinks about, the self-care and mental well-being and spiritual well-being of people that take care of others, parents, grandparents, grandchildren. So our speaker tonight is Dr. Vashante James. He is a licensed clinical social worker as well as a psychologist. So, Dr. James, you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, everyone. How you all doing? I will be presenting on self-care, something that as Ms. Monitra mentioned, that is overlooked, something that's very important that we all have to do, especially working in this field, working with clients or patients. So I'm going to present shortly.
Dr. James, you cannot call me Miss Monitra. You make me feel all of my gray hairs. I'm just throwing it out. Okay?
Well, I apologize. Now, should I get started or should I wait or?
You can bring up his PowerPoint technology, please. And again, this is going to be interactive. He's not just going to sit and teach and preach. Anybody have questions? Anybody want to make a comment? You can drop it in the chat or ask to be unmuted.
But as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be talking about self-care, and with self-care, there were some quotes that I came across that was kind of interesting and definitely fits for what we're talking about today. The first quote on self-care which says, "Breathe, let go, and remind yourself that at this very moment is the only one you know you have for sure." And that quote is, of course, from Oprah Winfrey. The second one is, "Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you." And that's from Anne Lamott. And basically, it's just more of saying we need to take a break from everything, including, our electronics, and as well as ourselves, to kind of just reset so that we can, be able to continue to give in this field. The third quote is, "Love yourself enough to set boundaries. Your time and energy are precious. You get to choose how you use it. You teach people how to treat you by deciding what you will and won't accept." And that's by Anna Taylor. And the last quote on self-care is, "As you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself, the other for helping others." And this is from Maya Angelou. So what is self-care? Self-care is the practice of taking care of the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of your life to promote health and wellness. Self-care is being able to promote health, prevent disease, maintain health, and cope with illness and disability with or without the support of a healthcare provider. And lastly, the main goal of self-care is to preserve overall well-being through consistently taking care of various aspects of your health. So what people think self-care is, and oftentimes I see people doing things or saying things, and I'm thinking to myself, is that really self-care? But to them, they think it is. So some people think that overindulgence and spending money is self-care, even though to me that's creating more problems because if you're spending a lot of money, then that can put you in a financial bind. Um, Binge eating your favorite foods. So of course, if we're binge eating our favorite foods, we're more than likely eating things that's unhealthy, and that can later cause us to gain weight or kind of have some stomach issues. Going on expensive and lavish vacations. Once again, that can lead up to spending so much money that it's going to end up broke or putting a dent in your savings account. And then lastly, numbing bad feelings using alcohol or substances. Of course, we know in this field that people feel like taking care of yourself and also more of trying to cope with certain things. Sometimes alcohol and drugs are used. So what self-care actually is, it's prioritizing one's physical and mental health, um, adopting healthy lifestyle habits that can be maintained long term, getting an adequate amount of good quality sleep, taking time out for yourself to participate in healthy activities you enjoy. Now, here listed, there are 4 types of self-care. We have physical health, mental health, relationships, and spiritual. And I'm going to talk about each of these types of self-care, starting with the physical. So when it comes to physical health helps to improve the quality of life and prevent or manage chronic conditions. Um, the proper amount of exercise is needed, um, eating well-balanced meals, engaging in relaxing activities, and getting enough sleep. With this, you want to also make sure too that you talk to your primary care physician and see what else can be done where they may recommend, especially too if you have some health issues. You want to make sure that you're following your doctor's recommendations and doing what's best for you, and also by managing your symptoms. Oh, I think we skipped over one, I believe. Oh, yes, no. Relationships. Social self-care can benefit overall health and well-being. Not having healthy relationships can be detrimental to your health. Regularly, so in order to kind of maintain and have healthy relationships and and practice self-care when it comes to your relationships, you want to regularly schedule get-togethers with friends or family members. You also want to connect with community or faith-based groups. If you can, volunteer for a local organization. Check around to see what agencies, organizations out there that may need some help. Like especially around this time, people need help for Thanksgiving and then Christmas. Like a lot of the soup kitchens, a lot of animal shelters, but just volunteering will also give you and increase your socialization and give you that way of kind of being able to communicate with other people and being around other people, which is healthy for your well-being. Also joining a local group, seeing what's out there. Sometimes going on Facebook, they may mention groups and things that they have going on in the area. There are certain apps, and then also talking to coworkers and friends and other people who may know some groups that you may be interested in. And there's one slide that I forgot to put in here, which I apologize, but it's more of the mental health. Mental health is very, very important. Um, as we know in this field, that if you continue to keep seeing clients or patients and you don't have any breaks and don't take care of yourself, that can lead to burnout. It can lead to a poor quality in service, lead to you being agitated, angry. And that's something that we don't want to see because, as we know, working in this field, that when you don't practice self-care, there's so many consequences behind that. So it's very important that we work on taking those breaks, whether it be going on vacation, um, whether it's if you have a day or two off, to utilize that time to spend with family or friends or to relax, and then also doing some type of enjoyable activity. But those are things that we have to do in order to maintain good mental health. So lastly, the one self-care is spiritual. Um, when it comes to spiritual self-care, it's nurturing your spirit, which allows you to connect on a deeper level with yourself. Um, some people use meditation. Um, I always recommend to patients to go to YouTube. There's a lot of guided meditation videos where, especially at the beginner and intermediate level or the advanced level, and kind of teach you how to meditate. And it works. It's very relaxing. It's something that I do myself at least once a week. Spending time in nature, those who like to go on hikes, who like to be outside, um, those type of things definitely, brings you closer to nature by just being out there. If you like animals or you like the sounds that you hear, the trees, looking at the trees, if that's relaxing, definitely want to do those things. Listening to inspirational music. Sometimes, of course, we're not feeling our best, or we're feeling a little down. So we listen to some inspirational music to kind of change our moods. Usually we feel better. And it's definitely, when it comes to music, that's something that definitely this makes us feel better overall. I often listen to a lot of inspirational music several times throughout the week, especially when I'm going to work and sometimes after work, especially if I had kind of a hard day or difficult day. Going to church. A lot of people, maybe once or twice a week, go to church, listening to the preacher or pastor talk, but just getting that knowledge from the Bible and being able to worship with people definitely helps with their spiritual self-care. Praying, of course, some of us pray, or most of us pray. We talk to whoever that higher power is to help us get through some difficult times. And then also talking to a spiritual advisor, pastor, preacher, or whomever. Sometimes we go to them for when we have problems, or there's something we're not understanding, or things are just not going right in our lives, and we need someone to kind of guide us and kind of put us back on track.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, having been a caregiver for my mom who passed in 2015, for at least 6 years between myself and my two sisters,
Mm-hmm.
I found it a struggle to balance it all. My daughter was still in school. All of us had kids who were still in school at the time, primarily in college. My younger sister's kids were in high school. And just trying to juggle the family life and take care of her actually took a toll. So I'll be honest, sleep was non-existent. It was at a premium if I could get sleep. But very rarely did we get sleep, in all honesty. But we kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Um, so I guess for a lot of us on the call, how do you balance that juggle? And when do we say uncle? And
You definitely want to get
yes, but no.
you definitely get family and friends involved where you're allowed, get together where you can say, I can take breaks. Somebody, like, say, would watch over your mother Monday. Somebody would take Wednesday, Tuesday, or just give you a couple hours throughout the day. And with those couple of hours throughout the day, with someone else watching her, you can either use that to take a nap, do something fun and enjoyable, but do something where you can balance out, because I'm quite sure that was very hard on you all, not being able to sleep, getting any rest. But that's something we often hear about when it comes to take care of a family member, that a lot of people say, I'm the only one doing it, or it's only a few of us, and I don't have any time for myself. Even sometimes too, I hate to say this, but if we can pay somebody to kind of come in and help, whether it be for a couple hours or so. At least that's giving you some time to kind of take a break. But you have to kind of find that balance. You have to find some time throughout that week, throughout that day. Even too, if it's for 15, 20 minutes, I'll take that 15, 20 minutes and meditate, 15, 20 minutes to listen to some music, or even 15, 20 minutes to phone a friend and kind of just talk. But you definitely need to find time for that break.
I think what we run into with regard to taking that break, and it is worthwhile to say the least, as a caregiver, is you got to be able to trust the person you have left your loved one to take care of while you take that break. And I think we struggle. Nobody can clean mama like I can clean mama. Did you make sure she ate everything on the plate? So we have to, trust that the person is going to do, the best, take care of them the best that they can, and not like you take care of them, because that's a whole nother set of problems. And it's stressful. You want to have control over all of this, but then you say, well, I'm tired. We got to learn how to trust and kind of release, and allow someone else to take care of the loved one as well.
And you're absolutely right. And if there's certain ways of you doing things, that person that you're allowing to come into your home, whether it be a complete stranger or whether it be a friend, other family, or whomever, you definitely want to show them, say, this is how we do X, Y, and Z. This is how we put the food on the plate. This is how we bathe him or her. But we have to kind of give those directions so that you feel comfortable allowing that person to take care of your loved one while you're gone, either out the house or just kind of taking a break. But like you said, if we don't allow these things to happen, then the breaks don't happen. And then that's how we get burnt out. And usually when we get burnt out, bad things tend to happen.
We have a question, and it states, when you have poor self-care, what is the first step to start practicing self-care?
I would say definitely start right away. Think about things that you enjoy doing and creating a list. If you have any hobbies, I would schedule that some time in to do work on hobbies. If you enjoy hanging out, being with friends, I would try to schedule some type of get together throughout the week. If you exercise, which I do a lot for self-care, take some time, an hour or two, to go to the gym. But definitely kind of creating a list of things that you enjoy doing, and that's where you would start from. And that kind of, just enjoyable and pleasurable, just doing things that we do that makes us smile, that relaxes us. But that would be something where I would start with that first, of creating that list.
And there is a hand raised, Kelly King. You
Oh,
can.
yeah, I was just piggybacking on what you were saying, to find somebody when we were taking somebody else outside of the family to take care of your loved one. Because my mom had dementia, but she was an extremely smart woman, so she was very difficult to care for. And I we had someone that came into my home when I had her, and it was unsuccessful because that lady just let me take care of her. I was started working at home, and so the lady didn't feel comfortable taking care of my mom because my mom was kind of demanding. So I basically ended up doing everything, and then the lady would say, "Okay, it's time for me to go."
Well, I'm sorry that that happened. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes with our loved ones, some of them can be difficult, which is understandable, which with the condition that they're in. Um, and I think when it comes to that, then that would be more of finding someone that your mother trusts as well. And that could be a friend of the family or another family member, even to if we may have to pay them, ask them, to do it out of the county, and it's the hourly hard for at least a couple of hours or so, and that will give you a break. But
Yeah,
definitely in that situation, you want to find someone that they're comfortable being around.
yeah, and it could have been me or my sister too, because we were a little OCD about our care, so we wanted things done a certain way.
No,
And
we
I guess
were
I
we,
understand.
well, kind of. It is what it is. Sometimes people don't do it like you do.
not.
Right. Understand. Definitely
The
understand.
other challenge was, I don't know if you remember this, Kelly, but when grandmother came to live with us, we became her caretakers as well. And we were all in college, and my mother and father still had to work. So we would literally leave campus, ride the bus, because none of us had cars then, to take care of my grandmother, because the people that we had lined up, they wouldn't show up, or they'd call literally 15 minutes before they were to arrive. Oh, I can't do it. So, and these were grandchildren. These were her grandchildren. And I was like, okay. And my sisters and I managed, literally. Go home, take care of her, make sure she had lunch or a snack. And then, my sister came and, test her sugar. It was crazy, but we did it on the
Mm.
bus.
Cool.
So
Cool.
even when you do have a family member, sometimes they can be so unreliable.
Mhm. You're right. Absolutely right.
I think we have another hand up. Chandra Davis.
Hey, so my question is regarding when is it time, I guess, to have that realistic conversation about, I guess, other care. So I'm dealing, I guess, with a client that is unable to really physically, mentally take care of her loved one, and she has limited support. And so engaging her in that conversation, but she's having so much guilt and shame about releasing her mom to possibly a nursing home or something like that. So, how do you engage clients or even family members in that conversation where, hey, I think it's time for you to look at other options?
I would say as soon as possible, meaning that too, once you hear the client mentioning how hard it's getting to take care of that loved one and them mentioning their health conditions, that will be definitely something that you would just want to just ease in the conversation and say, well, hey, have you ever thought about putting them in the nursing home? And then kind of letting them know too that because nursing homes have bad reputations, some of them.
For sure.
Uh, so we're going to say, well, we make sure you do your research first, and see some nursing homes that will have good reviews. Even if you can talk to people, schedule some visits to go out to the nursing home yourself to see. Um, but letting them know that maybe that is the next step for their loved one because it's be taking a toll on them mentally and physically doing it all by themselves. And we don't want it to get to the point where you're trying to take care of this loved one, and then here you are needing help too because now you're not feeling well. But definitely having that conversation as soon as possible with that client.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? So why is self-care important? When practicing self-care, you can expect to see positive changes. Those positive changes, you'll see a reduction in stress level. It increases your self-worth, feelings of belonging, especially too when you're around friends and family members, or any groups. So when self-care is not practiced, it can lead to a poor quality of life. Poor self-care can leads to burnout and dissatisfaction. And oftentimes we hear about people in this field being burnt out, where they're working with clients, patients, or even taking care of loved ones at home. You get burnt out when you don't have breaks. So that's why it's important that you do things to balance out, so that you can alleviate some of that stress that you may be feeling at that moment of taking care of the loved one. Also, poor self-care reduces the ability to be empathic. You get to the point where you stop caring, and when you stop caring, then there's a poor quality of service being placed on that patient, client, or even that loved one that we're taking care of. So we want to make sure that we get much self-care in as we can, so that we don't cause harm to family members, friends, or whomever we're taking care of, or even our clients or whomever. So we have to do this either once a week, every day if you can, but doing something that's going to, you're looking out for yourself and taking care of yourself. So signs of experiencing burnout. You have a lack of motivation, frustration, cynicism, and other negative emotions, cognitive problems, slipping job performance, interpersonal problems at home and at work, not taking care of yourself, being preoccupied with work, and health problems. This is something that we always see when it comes to burnout. And that's how we can tell people are burnt out, by looking at them and listening to them, even too at the jobs. When a person is working, and they're not doing anything for themselves. We can see it all over their face, how they're dressed. Maybe they're isolating themselves from their co-workers. And also too, they're a little agitated, where some things that's being done and said is out of character for them. That's how we know that this person is burnt out. And then also too, health problems. We don't think about this, but when you're stressed out, overworked, and you're not doing anything to balance your life between work, taking care of people, it affects your health. And that can be headaches, it can be stomach issues, um, strokes, just so many health problems that goes along with it. So that's why it's important that you do find that time to take care of yourself throughout the week or throughout the day. So how can we prevent burnout? First, you want to manage your level of stress. Stress can cause physical problems, as I mentioned a few seconds ago. It can be blurred vision, stomach irritation, high blood pressure, and changes in behavior, irritability, lack of concentration, change in appetite. So try to find relaxation techniques that work for you, whether it be deep breathing exercises, guided meditation, or just meditation. Do something that you feel is relaxing, and that's something that we have to do, because if you don't, I can guarantee you that bad things will happen that you would later regret, and then you'll beat yourself up over it, saying that I should have done X, Y, and Z, and this would not have happened. Be realistic. The care you give does make a difference, but many behaviors can't be controlled. Grieve the losses, focus on positive times, and enjoy good memories. Also know you are doing your best. Remember that the care you provide makes a difference and that you are doing your best you can. You may feel guilty because you can't do more. So you have to tell yourself what I'm doing is good enough. If I was able to do more, I would. But this is what I can do is helping, it's making a change, it's making a difference. Uh, but definitely don't beat yourself up over something that you feel like you know that you're not capable of doing. Um, so burnout prevention continues. So take a break, 15, 20 minutes, especially throughout the day. Like I said, mentioned before, get yourself a cup of coffee. Um, Read the newspaper. Do they still make newspapers? I don't think. I'm not sure. But just kind of just doing something, even to searching the internet. What I like to do from time to time is get on YouTube and watch a lot of videos from my childhood. Things I'll kind of research, like if people are doing certain exercises, lifting weights, I'll look at those things for about 15, 20 minutes. But you definitely need to take a break from your daily duties and activities. Um, as it says here, no one can do it all by themselves. We're not Superman and we're not Wonder Woman. We can't do it all. We have to take breaks, and sometimes too, we have to ask for help if we know that we're struggling, we're having some difficulty um, doing some, especially taking care of someone. But we need to take care of ourselves. Um, and like I said, and just do things that you feel that's relaxing, and enjoyable. As we know that once you participate in certain activities, that elevates your mood. Like I said, it alleviates some of that stress. Um, you'll be able to get along. You'll be able to do your job more effectively, and you'll be able to get along with others. And then you'll also be able to socialize, which is something that we all need to do. Accept changes as they occur. People are variables and they are forever changing. They may need to require care beyond what you can provide on your own. So that just goes back to what I was saying before, that you can only do so much. Um, but do what you can, and what the things that you're not able to do or you need some assistance, then that's when we reach out to people, or even to reaching out to a nursing home, especially too if you know that it's hard on you trying to raise a family and then also taking care of a loved one. You may have to put that person in a nursing home. I know we don't like to, but sometimes that's the only option, because sometimes we are trying to do it all ourselves, and sometimes we get so burnt out that we stop doing a good job and start doing a poor job, which is not helping that individual. So also becoming aware of community resources and care options can make your life easier. So just some coping strategies to use if you're starting to experience burnout. Exercising. I exercise 6 days a week for 2 hours. So that's my self-care. I get up early in the morning at 4:45, and I'm there till like 7 a.m. But if you can exercise, just if you have a treadmill or elliptical, or you exercising to videos, or even just taking a brief walk around the neighborhood, or if you have an exercise bike, but doing something physical helps with preventing burnout. Mental health counseling. If you've gotten to a point where it's starting to take a toll on you mentally, and you feel as if you're not performing well at work, you're stressed out, you're overeating or not eating at all, your sleep, then you definitely may want to seek services from a therapist, counselor, or psychologist, be able to talk to someone. And that definitely helps for sure. allowing for self-reflection, eating healthy. Sometimes, like I said, diets become poor when we're dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of burnout. We're eating all the wrong things. Sometimes it's making us sick. And especially too, if we have health conditions such as diabetes, that's just making your symptoms worse. And that can also cause you to end up in a hospital. But eating unhealthy, gaining weight, sometimes too, the foods we eat break out. But a lot of just problems from just eating or even not eating at all. Like I said, you're going to be losing weight, you're going to end up getting sick, and you're going to end up possibly needing to be admitted to the hospital. Visiting with family and friends. Schedule something, just with that person throughout the week. Say, hey, we're going to get together 2 weeks from now. It's going to be on a Saturday. We're going to go see a movie, or we're going to go to someone's house. We're going to sit and eat, watch a movie, something on Netflix, or even go shopping, or just as long as you're doing something together with a family member or a friend, that gives you a break from whatever it is that you're doing that may be mentally exhausting. Once again, meditation. And when it comes to meditating, you can start off with 5 minutes. Just sit, even if you're at work, sitting there at your desk for 5 minutes and kind of just visualizing you being somewhere, and all those things that comes with meditation, relaxing. But it can be from 5 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how much time you have. But it's something it's important. And like I said, it does work because it's something that I do often. Journaling. Um, Writing things down, of course, we know that works. Kind of expressing how you're feeling about things, especially too, if you don't feel like talking to anyone, at least writing it down helps. So all these things listed here as coping strategies, I definitely recommend that we do as caregivers. So now we come to, what are some ways you practice self-care? So who would like to go first? Because I've already shared with man that I exercise 2 hours. When I go to the gym, 2 hours, and it's usually 6 days a week. Oh, and I also listen to a lot of music. Going on YouTube. What else do I do for self-care? I used to, when I lived in Indiana, Illinois, I would always go out with my friends at least once a week. We would get together. So that's something I used to do. But now, since I'm here in Louisiana, I don't have friends like that. So what I usually do with them, my friends, I call them. We call at least once a week and keep up. And it's usually on the weekends. And then throughout the week, sometimes we'll text each other. And it just takes about 5 minutes to 10 minutes to kind of catch up and see how that person is doing and kind of sharing some things with them. And they share some things. But that's what I do for my self-care. So what are some other people's way of practicing self-care?
A few in the Q&A box: crochet, music, breath work, riding my horses, gardening, and a monthly friend outing.
Okay. Okay. Good. 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 Are there others?
Personal favorite is church services,
Church.
YouTube sermons.
Okay.
I travel across the country on
Okay.
YouTube on Sunday, and that's kind of my time.
Okay. Good. 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 Any other people? Oh, because we all should be practicing self-care, right?
Well, my self-care gets me into trouble because I love to garden. So I planted lots of basil and, Thai basil. So what do you do with basil? You make pasta. So, it's not always the best thing. Just throwing it out there. So I do like the garden, and then I take what I've harvested from my herb garden and I make, and then I cook usually the bad stuff.
Okay.
And a few more in the Q&A box: exercise, meditation, singing, and dancing.
Okay. Good. Good. So how often does this occur for those who are practicing self-care? Is it once a week, several times throughout the week? Is it every day?
I require it several times a week.
Okay. Okay, good. Good. Several times a week. Okay. Yeah, we definitely, I would say at least twice a week. If you can do it every day, that would be better. I even too, like when driving to work, I'll either pop in a CD or connect like watch some YouTube music video to my car. And that's my self-care on my way to work. And then it's also my self-care on my way home, listening to music. Or sometimes I'll call someone. And as I'm, driving home or driving to work, sometimes I'll talk to whether it be a friend or a family member.
Got a few more in the Q&A. I love finding old used furniture and reupholstering it.
Okay.
Listening to music daily in all caps.
Mhm.
A lot of daily self-care, weekly, music daily, and 5-6 days a week. I'd love to do upholstery more, but it takes a while, so probably monthly. Yeah, that's a pretty big job depending on the furniture, I'm sure. I like to shop, the retail therapy, just to get out and do something just for me.
Right. Well, good. I'm glad that you all are, doing something. We have to. And those who don't are the ones, like I said, that bad things happen. Sometimes too, where you stop, caring, you stop, doing the work. If you're working with clients or patients, then you're burnt out and you're not providing good therapy, you're not providing good case management. And like I said, you just tend to stop caring. And so you're doing a disservice to that client or that patient. Even too with our loved ones that we're taking care of, we may start off in the beginning doing a great job, but then after you start to burn out, then now it's more of you're doing a half job um, take care of them. You're getting frustrated, getting irritated. If they need something from you, you may start yelling at them. May start utilizing profanity at them if it gets that bad or being burnt out. Um, but it's something that we have to do. And like I said, at least several times a week, you have to balance everything out. This is something that I practice and preach to a lot of the patients that I see. You have to do something. If you don't do something, then as I always say, bad things is going to happen. It's going to be consequences.
And this is a really good one, Dr. James. On Facebook live stream, Keisha Wilson says, I say no to people, which is a very good one. And
Yeah.
she schedules ladies' nights when needed, and she does listen to gospel, but we always say no is a sentence, right?
Yes, yes. Those are definitely some good ones. That's very important. Yes, we have to know to people who have too much on our plate as it is. And to add anything else would, cause us to feel overwhelmed. So just, telling the person, you can help polite, like I would like to help or like to do this, but I have other things going on. and I don't want to do a sloppy job, or I don't want it to be where I get angry or frustrated because I'm doing this for you. But just kind of politely tell them up front that you can't do that, and just telling them no. Are there any other questions or anything else that somebody wants to share? That's it. I do thank you all for listening to me. I hope that you all start. For those who have not been practicing self-care, I hope you start. And as I mentioned earlier, that you definitely want to create a list of things that you enjoy doing. If you have any hobbies, if you haven't spoken to any friends or family members in a long time, you want to maybe probably make that a priority. Giving them a call or a text message. If you haven't went out to the movies in a long time or to a restaurant, you may want to do that, but just coming up with some things that you can do to kind of take your mind off of work, and then being a caregiver to that loved one, um, and just kind of just taking a break from things. Okay. Well, that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Dr. James. This was a conversation that truly needed to be had, because we don't always recognize when we need to set boundaries, when we need to sometimes put ourselves first, which often for women of color feels so uncomfortable. Like, I'm gonna put me first. Oh, that's weird. So I'll leave the closing to Vice President Robin Bettis and Monica McDaniels.
Thank you for coming. I'll, of course, defer to our Vice President to give us a formal closing, but we will be hosting a December webinar. We're planning it to be a hybrid model, so it'll be an in-person audience as well as online viewers. The topic is going to be depression. We don't talk about depression and as it relates to the holiday season, but it is a thing, and we may not even realize it, but some people really, really are not themselves during this time of the year. So we're going to have a really, really good discussion in a very safe space with some really good presenters. So stay tuned for the flyers, and check out IG and Facebook and our Baton Rouge Sigma website for more information on that upcoming event. Vice President Bettis, it's all up to you.
Dr. James, we want to thank you so much for that very informative presentation. I know that Iris, got some really good nuggets from it that I will start using myself. And we want to thank those persons who joined in with us this evening, and thank the Physical and Mental Health Committee for all of your hard work in preparing for these presentations. So we want to say thank you and good evening to you.